Jacolby, take us through the last few weeks, how you think your game has grown. You've been sort of thrown into a sprint, going from being third team and suddenly you're now starting and being in the games you've been in the last couple of weeks. Has it been so quick and so fast you're not able to really gauge how much you've grown or some areas you've improved in? Or, if you can, tell us what some of those areas are.
Well, I feel like from the last 3 weeks, obviously, I think I've grown quite a bit. I can grow a little bit more as a leader now since my role has changed. And so that's something I can really start stepping up in for the team. I mean, I'm a leader as it is, and now it's time to show it, you know. I'm pretty comfortable out there. I have to do what I have to do for the team, and it's been great so far. Things have changed, obviously, and me coming in from the summer, and all the roles have changed from me being, like you said, third string to now starting. It's time for me to elevate as that leader and help this team grow.
Chip said yesterday there were about 5 or 6 throws, I believe it was Saturday night, that you wish you could have back, and that's part of the process. How close are you to making those plays on those 5 or 6 throws?
Those plays that I've mentioned, I make those on a regular basis throughout practice, and obviously it's a whole different ball game when you're out there doing it, because you actually have guys wanting to hit you as hard as they can compared to practice. And so it's just one of those things where as I continue to play and continue to get those reps in game, then those plays will happen. And I mean, I get frustrated whenever I do miss those passes because it's like, come on, Kobe, you don't miss those. But at the end of the day, it comes with continue to doing it and just being in that role every single week and doing what I do.
If I could stay on that real fast, when you do miss that pass and you say that to yourself, how quickly do you brush that off and move to the next play? Or is that a challenge too, because you're new, getting a lot of reps in games?
Oh, no, not at all. It's not really a challenge. I mean, you're going to miss throws as a quarterback, and obviously you can have some plays back, but you can't. That's in the past. It's just continue to do it throughout, day in and day out. And I'm doing that, and as these weeks are progressing, I feel like I'm getting better and better as it goes.
Pittsburgh's, go ahead, Adam.
Just thought, all right.
Jacolby, Pittsburgh's coming in here, they're undefeated. Like Duke, they have a defensive-minded head coach, Narduzzi. What have you seen from them just in your early study, and what sort of makes them tick?
Pretty talented down there, down at the D-line. Have some great secondary players. I mean, they're going to bring pressure regardless. I mean, we have Marion back there, so we know pretty much what they're probably going to give us. And we just have to do what we do from an offensive standpoint and pick out where they're going to bring those blitzes from, things in that area.
Jacolby, along those lines, with the pressures, the last 2 games, you guys have given up as an offense way more pressures than the first couple. What do you see, just in your opinion, as the improvements that need to be made? I mean, you've been under fire back there some. What do you see as the improvements that need to be made there so that you're holding up better with the blocking, you're giving Amarian more room to run? I mean, he's getting hit in the backfield. Like, what do you think are the things that need to get better there up front?
I'd say a lot of it has to do with me, honestly. I feel like the O-line has been doing a pretty well job throughout the last couple of weeks. And as for me, getting that in-game experience, I can get the ball out a lot quicker. And from practice to game, I have to translate that. And I put all that on me. Whenever I get hit, I tell the guys, that's on me. I got to get the ball out faster. And it's not on the O-line. I mean, I'd say particular whenever there's pressures, there's either a protection that's messed up or the ball's just not getting out. And I'm the type of guy, as a quarterback, you got to hold that standard. And I put it all on me. So that's something I have to improve on.
Go ahead. My bad. Kind of going over that a little bit. You know, early on in this season, or I guess in your first couple of starts, they have kind of moved you around a little bit, and obviously you scrambled a little bit more often and things like that. I know that's something that you, mobility-wise, wanted to improve on. How much more comfortable, I guess, are you in that regard as far as, kind of moving around and things like that?
That's something I've always done since I started playing quarterback, since 4th grade. Been able to really be a dual threat out there, a guy that can sit in the pocket if he has to, a guy that's able to run out of the pocket if needed. And I mean, I'm very comfortable in that aspect. And Coach, I mean, I feel like he's getting more comfortable with throwing that out there with me. And so as time goes on, I feel like a lot of people will see a lot more of that.
Jacolby, what's been the last couple of days been like? You lost your rival, the victory belt is not to be heard around here. 2-game losing streak, all this stuff that's going on around here. What's been the last couple of days like, as you head into the next game here?
It's just like it's like a typical loss. You got to brush it off. You got to move on. And the last 2 weeks haven't been in our favor. We've had some adversity. We have to find a way from an offense and a defense standpoint on, okay, how do we get back on track? Like, what are we good at? Things like that in that nature. And I feel like the last couple of days after that game, we've had leaders speak up and we've all listened. And I feel like as time goes on, we're going to keep moving forward.
That sort of ability to have a short memory and to move on, do you view that as really an indispensable mental skill for someone at this level of college football to have?
Yeah, it's just, I grew up in a football family, so my dad was my coach, so it's one of those things where like, okay, when I was in high school, he's coaching me, I would get so tough about losses, and he's like, you gotta move on, like, that game's in the past, you just have to play the next one, play the next one, play the next one. It's the same thing as if you're in a game, play the next play. You can't worry about the last play.
What coaching pointers has he given you lately? I'm sure he's, you're getting some. Drake's dad used to all the time, obviously.
Well, he was my quarterback coach, along as my coach as well. And so it'd be a lot of nights where if we lost, 5 o'clock in the morning, go watch film, go do something. And it's just one of those things that he's kind of instilled in me as like, okay, even if you win, even if you lose, you still have work to do. And even if you lose, like, you have to move on. Like, life, you're going to lose regardless. Like, he kind of sets that tone as football is a game you love and that God has given you. But in life, things are going to hit you, and football is the main way for me to show you that, okay, you got to get back up and fight each day.
So maybe some of the stuff you're hearing from him lately is less X and O stuff? Like, what are you hearing from him? What are the most prevalent things you're hearing from him on a day-to-day basis?
A lot of X and O's. He came.
Okay.
He was here for the Duke game. Afterwards, I knew it was coming. He ended up staying at my place. We talked for about 2.5 hours of just talking straight ball. And he's like, "Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?" And he's like, "You're better than that." And for my dad to see that, and he really doesn't know the place, but he knows something's not right. And I'm just like, that's on me. Like, that's something I have to get better as I continue to play. And he's like, "Yeah, you're right." He was like, you got to keep watching film, keep grinding, get to know the defense in and out, what they're trying to do, and the rest is there.
Dad, Duke is good too. I mean, were you telling him that,
Well, he doesn't really care how good they are. He's like, he kind of tells me like, okay, like, God's giving you this gift. Like, not too many people can have this gift. Like, take advantage of it. Like, as a quarterback, you just have to dominate that defense regardless.
I have a two-part question for you. Now that you're QB1, as opposed to your prior 4 years of experience as being a college football player, what has been the most challenging thing about being QB1 now? What's been the most interesting thing that might be different from what's challenging?
I've always kind of set myself as a leader without being QB1, but I feel like as you get into that role, there's so many more things that come into it, and you kind of have to pick and choose on how you really give that leadership to other guys because they handle it differently. And that's just something I have to continue to grow as. And as I'm out there on the field, obviously I've never been out there as many times as I have throughout the last couple of weeks. It's just making sure the guys are in tuned, making sure the guys are on track, like not losing focus. And as drives go by, because like sometimes a drive is going to be a 3 and out, and guys are just head down. You just have to uplift them. Like that's one drive. Come on, we got many more to go.
What's been the most interesting thing? Waking up Sunday morning feeling a little different?
I was going to ask you about that.
Okay, I can honestly say that's something I've actually enjoyed. Like waking up, it's been a while since I felt like, okay, my body's just hurting.
Yeah.
And I get up and I'm just, thank you, God. Like I'm happy I'm in this position. I truly am happy. And to wake up, body hurting a little bit, you just get up and you just smile. And obviously you need treatment, but at the end of the day, I'm just glad I'm in this position.
Staying on this, do you feel a lot more eyeballs on you now? Like when you walk in the locker room, you're in the weight room around the building here, as opposed to maybe a month ago?
Not really, I mean, obviously I feel like there's a lot of eyeballs on every single player on this team. And I don't really think for me, QB1 is a big deal. But at the end of the day, it's like, even if I was QB3, I still hold that same role, but maybe something else. And I just kind of carry it as like, okay, yes, I am QB1, but I'm still going to be that same guy.
Jacolby, look, I wanted to ask you about that because I mean, you threw 48 passes against JMU. Last week, you're running for your life at times. You guys are trying to get the 2-minute offense, 1-minute offense to try to win the game. I mean, you're physically exerting yourself while also trying to learn this playbook and all that other stuff. Like, what is it like on Sunday when you wake up? I imagine you have to be exhausted.
It is exhausting. I mean, you see the GPS and you're like, wow, I ran that much. But like that's football, you know? I mean, you're gonna have plays where they break down, you have to run a lot more, and you're gonna have plays where you wish you would have ran out of bounds sometimes, and you wake up with the consequences the next day of your body just hurting. And that's something I have to get really, really better with as I continue to play, as not taking too many hits, and feel like I've done a really good job of getting the ball out when it's needed, and just continue to be that guy that doesn't put myself in a position that'll hold this team back if I do get hurt.
What has the GPS said?
I've hit 19.8. I think I've hit 20 in NC Central. I'm not for sure.
It's not bad.
I mean, it's not bad for a 225 guy.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
bad.
I think the most Connor ever hit was 21.
Oh yeah,
20 something.
he can fly.
Yeah.
He can fly.
You've talked in So's Coach of the Year just about y'all's relationship. What's that like now that you're out there in games, connecting with him on the field? Is that just a little bit special as you look back kind of on?
I mean, it's fun out there. I mean, especially with all the guys, not even just John, like Marion, JJ, Kobe, all those guys that me and John, we came in, but they came in after us, so we kind of have that same connection as well. I mean, it's been really great, just throwing passes to them, coming off to the sideline. Like, obviously, I never, with them, had the hard criticism, but now since I am in that role, it's like, okay, I got to do this, I have to do that. Like, they're making sure I'm on top of my stuff, and I'm making sure they're on top of their stuff. That's probably the biggest difference. But at the end of the day, it's fun being out there and playing with those guys.
Jacolby, if I heard you right the other night at Duke when you were talking to us after the game, you essentially said, hey, the ship ain't sinking.
Mm-hmm.
What gives you the belief, because there are people that think it is, after these last 2 losses, what gives you the belief to say that and to think that you can get this thing turned around?
I mean, you come here Sunday morning after a game and you see the coaches up here, you see the players up here just grinding, and you're just like, this isn't over yet. And everyone's saying that to everyone. Coach Brown, he preaches it in the team meetings. This isn't over. Like, you're going to have some adversity that hits you, and how are you going to get up? This is a test for us, honestly. And we have the guys, we have the coaches, we have everything put together. We just got to go put it together on the field. And I feel like the guys, they're not letting down. I'm not letting down, and it's just going to move forward from here.
Jacolby, yesterday we were talking to Chip, and he was saying that the second half of Duke was more so just a matter of not, staying in rhythm and things like that. I guess for you, what does a in-rhythm UNC offense, what would be the, ingredients, if you will, of that, and what's the key to kind of sustaining it, throughout a 60-minute game?
I'd say just being aggressive, I mean, being who we are. And we know what the back we have, Marion. We know the quarterback we have, which is me. We know how the receivers we have. Just be aggressive. Don't let you're up 20-0. Don't let loose. Like, don't get too comfortable, because this is college football and anything can happen. It's just making sure all the guys are just 10 feet in the ground each play and pushing forward.
On that note, Chip was talking to us yesterday about the opposing safeties sort of being glued more to the line of scrimmage for good reason with 28 back there. But I was saying, you need to get some more field stretching plays to loosen that up a little bit. I mean, like, how do you try to go about that without giving away what you're doing? I'm saying, like, is that an area you need to tap into more with this offense to maybe get more vertical or get more outside the numbers with some of these throws?
I'd say yes, indeed. I mean, obviously you see guys bring in a 7-player in the box, and it's like, how do we contain that? How do we put ourselves in an advantage to where they just can't do that? And that comes with me, just being more comfortable with certain things and having different throws out there. If I do see this, okay, throw that. It's just being comfortable, and I feel like today we took a big jump in doing that.
Jacolby, when you look at Pittsburgh, not give away game plan or anything, but what do you see on them when you look at their defense that impresses you or concerns you?
Fast, strong, physical, guys that they're going to come. They're going to bring a blitz on first down, second down, third down. It doesn't matter. You have to figure out where it is and put the ball out there at the right time, because if you don't, their guys are fast enough to come and get you. Guys that are just one-on-one, they're going to say, okay, our guy is better than yours. And so I feel like this is a great opportunity for our receivers to really show everyone that hasn't really been giving them that much attention that, okay, yeah, we got it.
Just tell me a little bit about just where your relationship is with Coach Lindsay at this point. I mean, he's worked with you, you know, all the way up from third string to first string. I also know he's one of those guys that's, you know, you kind of flub on a play. Oh, I'm not calling that anymore. You really have to work to build his trust. Where is that trust level at now?
I'd say just from Coach Lindsay's standpoint, as soon as I stepped here, I love that man. Like, that man has, the last 3 weeks has done so much in my confidence to where I've seen tremendous growth. And it's just continue to build that trust with him. And that's me making the right reads, me doing the things he wants me to do. And that's what I'm really grasping on as I continue to move forward.
Quick follow-up on that, if I may. I mean, you're obviously a comfortable guy from, you know, when you're coming in here this summer talking to us. What has he done specifically in the past 2 weeks to help you build that confidence even more?
As much as I do talk about my arm, he talks about it just as much as well. And a coach that really believes that, okay, I can be one of the best as well. And that's just what you want in a coach. And just to continue me to, like, after every game Sunday, he continues to text me and it's like, you played, I'm proud of your toughness. And that's one thing he says after every single game. And for him to see that I'm out there just being tough and playing for this team, that's a huge confident boost for me.
Jacolby, from when you were here before the 3 years, would you say that Pitt was the meanest defense that you saw in the ACC? Because you remember the game up there when it poured down rain. Do you remember what 2022 Drake's bleeding? You know, like, the one guy got what? The first round pick got tossed. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
Targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Are they some mean dudes?
They
From what
are.
you remember?
From what I remember, they are. Every single week leading up to that week playing against Pitt, we're like, this is going to be a pain.
Yeah.
And, I mean, as a QB, you're like, okay, we got to get this ball out as quickly as possible, because if you don't, good luck. And, I mean, that's just kudos to Narducci. Like, he's the type of guy that he really sticks on defense and does a really good job. And for us, it's, okay, you do what you do and we're going to do what we do. And that's all you can do when it comes to a defensive-minded coach like him.
I don't know if you had the chance to ask you this, but what's it been like having Max Johnson back in Chapel Hill, like home games?
Who?
Max Johnson.
Oh, it's been really nice. Haven't seen him this week. I saw him last week. He's been giving me the confidence as well, and I'm still praying for him, hoping he's doing well. Me and his brother Jake, we talk 24/7. I always ask Jake, how is he doing? He's like, he's doing well. I mean, he wishes he can do things on his own, but he just can't right now. And I mean, it's glad for him to be back. He actually sat in one of our meetings in the QB room, and it was good to see him having a voice, having an impact again, like doing what he loves.
I was gonna actually ask you that, like if you had a chance to, kind of talk football with him and things like that. So I guess if he's, in the meetings and stuff like that, is he kind of giving, pointers and
Mm-hmm.
what's that dynamic kind of?
He's been at practice. Last week he was at practice on, I want to believe, Tuesday or Wednesday, and I walked up to him. I was like, hey, what are you seeing? And he gave me his insight on everything, and he's really liking what we have for the week, things like that. And it's really good to see, like, okay, he's into it, like he's not losing sight. Like, that's good for all of us.
All righty. Thank you, Jacolby.
Thanks, Coach.